Shalom, shalom. We're going to go over a couple things. First, response to Survivor Rules over on X. Fishers of Men.
Peter. Well, what did Yahshua tell Peter? He says, "Follow me, you become fishers of men," right? And so, what do we do when we catch fish? We clean them and we eat them.
Correct. So are you saying that Jesus is going to clean you and eat you? I truly believe this, and we'll get into that in the next section. That's the entire goal.
So, what happens to a person when he becomes a believer in Yahshua? He dies.
Hallelujah. The truth. See, Habakkuk 1. This is really interesting. And I don't think this was originally about the first century. It's just interesting how it has very many parallels to what happened. Habakkuk 1:12. You are not from everlasting, O Yahweh, my Elohim, my Holy One. We will not die. You, O Yahweh, have placed them to judge. You are the rock, have established them to reprove. Your eyes are too pure to see evil. You cannot look on trouble. Why do you look on those who deal treacherously? Why are you silent when the wicked swallow up those who are more righteous than they? And you have made men like fish of the sea, like creeping things without a ruler over them. And the Chaldeans bring them up with a hook, drag them away with their net, and gather them together in their fishing net. Together they are glad and rejoice. Therefore they offer a sacrifice to their net and burn incense to their fishing nets. Because though these things their portion is rich and their food is fat, will they therefore empty their net and continually kill Gentiles without sparing? Goyim, nations? And then look at the next chapter, starting at verse 5. And indeed, wine betrays the haughty man, so that he does not stay home. And this is so crucial. This Christo narcissism that gets people to think they have to go out and catch men. You don't stay home. You don't take care of your wife, your kids, your land that God has given you. He enlarges his appetite like Sheol. And this is interesting because if you look at this word, without the vowel markers, it's exactly the same consonants as Apostle Shaul or King Shaul. And he is like death, never satisfied. He is like death. Remember what he just said?
He dies.
You've died. You died because you made a covenant with Shaul or Sheol and death. And it's never satisfied. You're never satisfied. You never have shalom. He also gathers himself what? All the goyim again, all the nations. I'm not making this up. This is Christianity.
It's no longer we that live; it's Yahshua that lives in us, right?
Okay. Where does Torah tell you that? If a prophet or a dreamer or a dream arises among you and gives you a sign or a wonder, and the sign or the wonder comes true, yes, it can come true, concerning which he spoke to you, saying, let us walk after other Elohim, whom you have not known, and let us serve them. Who's this other Elohim? Yahushua, that you say lives in you. He's an idol.
And so we died. Our life is hidden now with Messiah and Elohim.
How is that possible, guys? Ezekiel 14. And the word of Yahweh came to me, saying, Son of man, if a country sins against me by committing unfaithfulness, and I stretch out my hand against it, break its staff of bread, send famine against it, and cut it off from both man and beast, even though these three men, Noah, Daniel, and Job, were in the midst, by their own righteousness, they could only deliver themselves. There is no hiding of your sin. You have to turn from it. You have to start doing what's right. It's not covered, certainly, by death and murder.
And what do we do at Passover? We partake of the body and the blood of Yahshua.
Oh, that's so vile. Exodus 12. Where does it say you partake of a body of a man or the Son of Man or even the Son of God? It's the lamb. And why is it the lamb? Why a lamb? And Pharaoh called for Moses. This is in Exodus 8, starting in verse 25. And Aaron and said, Go sacrifice to your God within the land. Right? Say, stay in the land and make your sacrifice. But Moses said, It is not right to do so, for we will sacrifice to Yahweh our Elohim what is an abomination to the Egyptians. If we sacrifice what is an abomination to the Egyptians before their eyes, will they not then stone us? This is why they chose a lamb. See this? K, also Romanized Ku, was one of the earliest Egyptian deities in Upper Egypt, originally associated with the Nile, which is why it was filled with blood. He held responsibility for regulating the annual inundation of the river, emanating from the caverns of Hapi, the deity embodying the flood. Since the annual flooding of the Nile brought with it silt and clay, and its water brought life to surrounding areas, he eventually became known as the creator of human bodies and the life force. Using the potter's wheel and the clay, he fashioned these entities and placed them within their mother's wombs. Often his creative endeavors were seen by another god. He was later described as having molded the other deities and was revered as the creator of the animal kingdom. This is why Yahweh chose a lamb. To leave Egypt, they first had to kill, destroy, and eat the god of Egypt. Your lamb shall be a male without blemish, a year old, and you may take it from the sheep or from the goats. You shall keep it until the 14th day. See, this is part of the whole thing, right? Bring the God of Egypt into your house. Make him comfortable, make him friendly. And then the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall slaughter it at twilight. Moreover, they shall take some of the blood and put it on the two doorposts and lintel. Yes, the blood goes on the door, not in your mouth. They shall eat the flesh that night, roasted with fire, and they shall eat it with unleavened bread and bitter herbs. Do not eat any of it raw or boiled at all with water, but roasted with fire, both its head and its legs along with its entrails. You shall not leave any of it over till the morning. This is another reason he did not fulfill Torah, even if you want to say he is this lamb. When was his body burned with fire to ashes, that there was nothing left in the morning? And this is what you'll notice as we go through uh, the Jews for Jesus stuff. What they do is they cherry pick single passages and say fulfilled. And sometimes it's not even single passages, it's a couple words.
We are the body, right? We are his body, and yet we're partaking of that body of which we are all a part of. And so the idea kill and eat had to do with their flesh would be put to death, be joined to new man Yahshua. of that body we partake on Passover. And so it's a big parable. He's saying, go to the Gentiles. I have cleansed them through the blood of Yeshua.
You can't be cleansed through the blood of a man. That's murder. Let's go to another passage about the fisher of men. Jeremiah 16:16. Behold, I am going to send for many fishermen, declares Jehovah, and they will fish for them. He's talking about men again. And afterwards I send for many hunters, and they will hunt for them from every mountain, every hill, and from the crevices of rock. For my eyes are on their ways. See, again, you can't cover your sin. You can't have it concealed. They are not hidden from my face, nor is their iniquity concealed from my eyes. I will first double repay their iniquity and their sin, because they profaned my land. They have filled my inheritance with carcasses of their detestable idols, with their abominations. O Yehovah, my strength and my strong defense, and my refuge in the day of distress, to you, the Goy, again, the nations, will come from the end of the earth and say, our fathers have inherited nothing but lies and futility and things without profit. How could a man make gods for himself, yet they are not gods? Indeed, but this is what they do. So let's go through this list. Try to get through as many as we can. Micah 5:2. The birthplace of the Messiah seemed to be a lively topic of discussion among the Jews. Okay. So if you just compare Luke 2 and Matthew 2 side by side, what do you see? Luke 2, they went back to Bethlehem because of a census. The census did not exist in Matthew. After Jesus was born in Bethlehem, see, they had what in Bethlehem? A house. And this is what you'll notice about like a nativity scene, a typical Christ idolatry. They'll have the manger from Luke 2, but have the shepherd from Luke 2 visiting, and the magi from Matthew 2. But there is no manger in Matthew, and there is no magi in Luke. There is no slaughter of the innocents in Luke, something that is profound. I mean, how could such a profound historical event be forgotten by everyone but Matthew? It's not in secular history, and it's not even in Luke. Paul never talked about it. So to understand Micah 4, you have to, I mean, Micah 5, you have to go back to Micah 4. And really, I really think you should start at the beginning. It's a short book. Like Micah 1, the word of Yahweh, which came to Micah of Moresheth in the days of Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, kings of Judah, which he held concerning Samaria and Jerusalem. So Micah 4 and 5 are about Hezekiah. The same, and Micah 4 is a parallel of Isaiah 2, which is also about Hezekiah. And it even tells you Isaiah 2 to 2:4. It's the same message. Now, it will be in the last days. And, I think the Christian translators have corrupted this. The mountain of the house of Yahweh will be established as the head of the mountains. It will be lifted up above the hills, and the people will stream to it. And many nations will come and say, come and let us go up to the mountain of Yahweh. Now, think about this. According to your New Testament, in the Gospel of John, he's talking to the Samaritan woman and says, worship will not be in Mount Zion. Yet Isaiah 2 and Micah 4 both say that all nations will go to Zion to worship Yahweh, to the house of God of Jacob, that he may instruct us from his ways, that we may walk in his paths. For from Zion will go forth law. And this is crucial. This is something you also see in Isaiah 2, that the Torah goes forth from Zion. Did that happen? No. The Torah was absconded. I mean, if you read, like, even in the earliest passages in 110 AD of Ignatius, he says that if you keep the Sabbath, you have fallen from JC. Fallen, gone, no more grace. So how could you say that Torah went forth from Zion? That he's the living Torah when none of his followers for the last 2,000 years until this modern movement have tried to follow Torah. And now you have Gentiles and some Jews calling themselves Jews for Jesus, claiming they're following Torah with human sacrifice and theophagy. It's impossible. So, when you get to Micah 5, the ruler will come from Bethlehem. What's it talking about? Now muster yourselves in troops, daughter of troops. They have laid siege against us. With a rod they will strike the judge of Israel on the cheek. When did that happen in the first century? And this is what I was talking about. Like, they take one passage, sometimes one sentence, and say fulfilled. And we'll see that over and over again. But as for you, Bethlehem Ephrathah, too little to be among the clans of Judah. From you one will go forth from me to be ruler of Israel. His going forth are from everlasting, from the ancient days. And this is another one that totally perverts. This is about David, that his seed came forth through Bethlehem. Therefore he will give them up until the time when she who was in childbirth is born a child. Then the remainder of his brothers will return to the sons of Israel, and he will stand and shepherd his flock in the strength of Yahweh, and the majesty of the name of Yahweh is his Elohim. See, this messenger that's about to come, Yahweh is still his God. That's why I said, like, if you read the context, your religion's destroyed. And we've only gotten to the first passage. And they will remain because at that time you will be great to the ends of the earth. And this one will be peace. When the Assyrian enters our land, when he treads on our citadels, then he will raise against him 7 shepherds and 8 princes of men. And they will shepherd the land of Assyria with the sword, and the land of Nimrod at its entrances, and they will deliver us from the Assyrian. When he enters our land and when he treads within our borders, then the remnant of Jacob will be among many peoples, like dew from Yahweh, like showers on vegetation, which do not hope for man or wait for the sons of man. You're not waiting for the Son of Man. Then the remnant of Jacob will be among the nations, among many peoples, like a lion among the breasts of the forest, and like a young lion among flocks of sheep, which, if it passes through, tramples down and tears. There is none to deliver. And your hand will be raised up against your adversaries, and all your enemies will be cut off. It will be in that day, declares Jehovah, that it will cut off your horses from among you and destroy your chariots. I will cut off the cities of your land and pull down your fortifications. I will cut off sorceries from your hand, and you will have soothsaying no more. I will cut off your graven images and your sacred pillars from among you, so that you will no longer worship the work of your hands. And I will uproot your Asherim from among you and eradicate your cities. I will execute vengeance in anger and wrath on the nations which have not listened. That there's no way that's about the New Testament, man. Did I miss one? God, so bad. We don't know exactly why the whole city was in an uproar, nor do we know exactly how the Magi ascertained that something was afoot in Judea. It could have been by biblically forbidden astrology. I mean, think about what they just said there. Think about this. Like, guys, girls, women, men. These guys just admitted that the practice of these sorcerers from the East is forbidden. The Bible warns against this practice, but does not say it's incapable of producing truth. No, it doesn't. But why would truth come from something that Father has forbidden? I mean, let's go back to like the Torah, Deuteronomy 29:29. The secret things belong to Yahweh our Elohim, but the things revealed belong to us and to our sons forever, that we may do all the words of this law, this Torah. See, the secret things are what's coming. It's not secret things like in the way that Christians teach it. It's about the future. And he doesn't want you to divine the future. He wants you to trust him. And let's go to a prophet, Amos 3:7. This because this is one they use about the secret council, right? Surely Lord Jehovah does nothing, and this is the implication. The secret council is about his actions, unless he reveals his secret counsel to his slave, the prophets. So, if this was really truthful, it wouldn't have used Eastern sorcerers to practice something Torah forbids. Or it could be they knew something of Jewish tradition on the subject. I, it could be, but would that make it true? I mean, look at what Jeremiah warns. Hear the word of you, which Jehovah speaks to you, O house of Israel. Thus says Jehovah, do not learn the ways of the nations. Do not be terrified by the signs of the heavens, although the nations are terrified by them. And it's interesting, in this same context, it talks about how they are gathering trees from the forest and decorating them with silver and gold to worship them. Something they do in connection with the star announcing his birth. Very interesting. I thought this had all of them, but it's so tiring. This looks like a good read. 300 times 0, because they claim there's 300 prophecies for him. But like we just did with Micah, when you read them in context, you see that that's impossible to be true. Let's go through a couple others. Let's start in Luke. Switch to the New King James because it shows the quotations better. So in Luke 3, It has this pronouncement about the baptizer preaching repentance and remission of sins. And you think about this, like how many times the narrative contradicts itself. Why would they need to do this if coming shortly his murder would cover their sins? It doesn't make any sense. And then it goes on to say, as it is written in the book of Isaiah, the prophet saying, the voice of one crying in the wilderness, prepare the way of Yahweh, make his path straight. Every valley shall be filled, every mountain shall be brought low, the crooked places made straight, and the rough ways smooth, and all the flesh shall see the salvation of God. Now think about that final passage. This is one of the ones that absolutely convinced me that something was off. I mean, let's go to Isaiah 40. Comfort, oh, comfort my people, says your Elohim. Speak to the heart of Jerusalem. Who's he talking to? To Isaiah. It's about this time frame that Isaiah is speaking to the people to comfort them in the affliction they're about to face. Call out to her that her warfare has been fulfilled, that her iniquity has been removed, and she has received from the hand of Yahweh double for all her sins. If her iniquity is removed, then why the need for human sacrifice? A voice is calling, prepare the way for Yahweh in the wilderness. Make smooth in the desert a highway for our Elohim. Let every valley be lifted up, every mountain and hill made low. Let the rough ground be made plain, and the rugged terrain a broad valley. Then the glory of Yahweh will be revealed, and all the flesh will see it together. It didn't happen, for the mouth of Yahweh spoken it. A voice calls out, and then he answered, what shall I call out? All flesh is grass, and all its loving kindness is like the flower of the field. The grass withers, the flower fades, when the breath of Yahweh blows upon it. Surely the people are grass. The grass withers, the flower fades, but the word of our Elohim stands forever. Get yourself up on a high mountain, O Zion, bearer of good news. Raise up your voice powerfully, O Jerusalem, bearer of good news. Raise it up, do not fear. Say to the cities of Judah, behold your Elohim. Behold, Lord Yahweh will come with strength, with his arm ruling for him. Behold, his reward is with him, and his recompense with before him. Like a shepherd, he will shepherd his flock. In his arm will he gather lambs, and he carry them in his bosom. He will gently lead the nursing ewes. Who had measured the waters in the hollow of his hand, and encompassed the heavens by the span, and calculated the dust of the earth by measure, and weighed the mountains in a balance, and the hills on a pair of scales? Who has encompassed the spirit of Yahweh, or as his counselor has informed him? With whom did he take counsel, and who gave him understanding? Who taught him in the path of justice, and taught him knowledge, and made him know the way of understanding? And this is why he's not a son. He knew all these things. Behold, the nations are like a drop from a bucket, and are counted as a speck of the dust on the scales. Behold, he lifts up the coastlands like fine dust. Even Lebanon is not enough to burn, nor its beasts enough to bring burnt offering. All the nations are nothing before him. They are counted by him as non-existence and utterly formless. To whom then will you liken Elohim? To a man? Or what likeness will you compare with him? To the Son of Man? A man that died on a cross? You'll liken the mighty Elohim to that? As for graven images, the carpenter casts it, the goldsmith plates it with gold, and a silversmith fashions chains of silver. He who is too impoverished to make such a contribution chooses a tree that does not rot. He seeks out for himself a wise craftsman to prepare a graven image that will not be shaken. Do you not know? Have you not heard? Has it not been declared to you from the beginning? Have you not understood from the foundations of earth? It is he who inhabits above the circle of the earth, and his inhabitants are like grasshoppers. It is he who stretches out the heavens like a curtain and spreads them out like a tent to inhabit it. It is he who reduces rulers to nothing, who makes the judges of the earth utterly formless. Scarcely have they been planted, scarcely have they been sown. Scarcely have they been taken root in the earth, but he who merely blows on them, and they wither, and the storm carries them away like stubble. To whom then will you liken me, that I would be his equal? Says the Holy One. Lift up your eyes on high to see that who has created these stars, the one who leads forth their host by number. He calls them by name because of the greatness of his vigor and the strength of his power, but not one of them is missing. Why do you say, O Yaakov, and assert, O Israel, my way is hidden from Yahweh, and the justice due me passes by my God? Hallelujah. I mean, over and over again, he's telling you the same thing in these passages. Your sin can't be concealed, not through murder, not through any means. You have to turn from it. And what do they say? My way is hidden. He can't see me. The justice due me is going to pass by me. Do you not know? Have you not heard? The everlasting Elohim, Yehovah, the creator of the ends of the earth, does not become weary or tired. Now that's interesting, isn't it? John 4:6. I knew it was Jacob's well was there, and Jesus, tired from the long walk, sat wearily beside the well about noontime. Oh, isn't that interesting? Same two words. The everlasting Elohim Yahweh does not become weary or tired. Oh man, I, I, it just boggles my mind. How do you not see the truth? It's been a while since I've done a live stream meme. JC was weary and tired. Yahweh doesn't get weary and tired. I mean, this should end the argument. It should destroy the argument that he is Yahweh in the flesh. It's not possible. Let's keep going a bit. So in Luke 4, we have the temptation, and this one is interesting. Um, I need to shortly log off, so this is probably the last one today. If you are the Son of God, command the stone to become bread. What do you think, Father? We'll do this really quickly. So, Father promises to make bread from stone. He did so for Israel in the wilderness. And then he takes them up to a high place and he says, where was that at? All authority is I will give you has been delivered to me, and I will give you whatever wish. And this is so weird because it says this is the devil. But read Psalm 2. And this Psalm 2 is a messianic psalm, one they attribute to being about the idol. But in it, it says, ask of me, and I will give you the nations. This is the same thing we see the quote unquote devil saying here. He doesn't have that authority if it is the devil speaking and not Yahweh. And I believe it's actually Yahweh speaking because this is the Marcionite influence over the New Testament. And he responds with Torah, you shall worship Yahweh, your Elohim, and you shall serve him alone. And then he brought him to Jerusalem, set him on a pinnacle of the temple, and said to him, if you are the Son of God, throw yourself down from here, for it is written, he shall give you his angels charge over you to keep you, and in their hands you shall bear you up, lest you dash your foot against a stone. This Psalm 91, again, a messianic psalm, a messianic promise that Yahweh will protect the Messiah. And he answers with this, it is written, he said, you shall not tempt Yahweh your Elohim. Will he protect you or not? I mean, this is one of the fundamental issues going back to that video, right? That, you're baptized into death. But Torah promises life. It promises it, that if you were obeying Yahweh, you will live a long life. You will be prosperous. But if you're not obedient, you will be afflicted, cursed, and ultimately, possibly, die before your time. And of course, now we go back. He goes to the synagogue on the Sabbath, and he reads again from the prophet Isaiah. The prophet Isaiah is heavily misquoted in the New Testament to support the idolatry. And we just went through Isaiah 40 and proving that. And this is Isaiah 61. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me because he has anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. He has sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives and recovery of sight to the blind, to set at liberty those who are oppressed, to proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord. Then he closed the book. Why did he stop reading after one paragraph? And this is something I've actually seen a Messianic talk about. Some of them are trying to be intellectually honest. And he said, why did he quote it out of context? His answer was not correct. And the Spirit of the Lord Yahweh was upon me. Upon who? Isaiah. Again, Isaiah is speaking to the people of Israel in this time frame. Because Yahweh has anointed me to bring good news to the afflicted. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim release to the captives and freedom to prisoners. Notice what else is missing? Recovery of the sight of the blind is not in the original manuscript. It's not in the Dead Sea Scrolls. To proclaim the favorable year of Yahweh, the day of vengeance to our Elohim, to comfort all who mourn, to grant those who mourn in Zion, giving them a headdress instead of ashes, oil of rejoicing instead of mourning, a mantle of praising instead of a spirit of fainting. So they will be called oaks of righteousness, the planting of Yahweh, that he may show forth his beautiful glory. Then they will rebuild the ancient waste places. What ancient waste places when Jerusalem was rebuilt by the order of Cyrus hundreds of years earlier? This is the context. He's talking to the people about to go into exile, promising them the restoration of the land. They will raise up the former desolations. They will make new the ruined cities, and the desolations from generation to generation. Strangers will stand and pasture your flocks, and foreigners will be your farmers and your vine dressers. But you will be called the priest of Yahweh. You will be spoken as ministers of our Elohim, and you will eat the wealth of the nations, and in their glories you will boast. Instead of your shame, you will have a double portion. Instead of dishonor, they will shout for joy over their portion. It just over and over. You like read this, like there's no way this is about the first century or about JC. Let's go to the next one. Oh, there's actually, for how much they claim that it quotes the quote unquote Tanakh or the Old Testament. I mean, I've been through 8 chapters now and not seen one quotation, just a fabrication of stories and invented signs and wonders to get you to follow an idol. So this is a false prophecy. In Luke 11, the queen of the south will rise up in the judgment with the men of this generation and condemn them. He was speaking to that generation like they would see this happen, but it didn't. Wow, it's just mind-boggling how little quotations there actually are. No wonder they have to invent prophecies. 300 times 0 is 0. And there's like so little in Luke that actually quotes. Here we go. Nope, that's just the quotation. It doesn't actually quote the Tanakh. Ah, here we go. Psalm 118. Finally, in Luke 20, we found one. He then looked at them and said, "What then is this that is written? The stone which is the builders rejected has become the chief cornerstone." And you read it and you don't go back and read the psalm because you never do. You just believe it, the words of the New Testament. Psalm 118. Give thanks to Yahweh, for he is good, for his loving kindness endures forever. Or let Israel say, his loving kindness endures forever. Let the house of Aaron say, his loving kindness endures forever. Or let those who fear Yahweh say, his loving kindness endures forever. For my distress I called upon Yah. Yah answered me and set a large place. And Yahweh is for me, I will not fear. What can man do to me? Yahweh is for me among those who help me. Therefore I will look in triumph on those who hate me. It is better to take refuge in Yahweh than to trust in a man. It is better to trust in your refuge in Yahweh than to trust in nobles. All the nations surrounded me. In the name of Yahweh I will surely cut them off. They surrounded me, indeed they surrounded me. In the name of Yahweh I will surely cut them off. They surrounded me like bees. They were extinguished as the fire of thorns. In the name of Yahweh I will surely cut them off. You pushed me down violently to make them fall. But Yahweh helped me, and Yah is my strength and song, and he has become my salvation. And you see, this is one of the ones they try to twist, which isn't even in the New Testament, because, oh, look, the word for salvation is Yeshua. Yes, the word for salvation in Hebrew is Yeshua, but it's a concept, not a man. And even if you wanted to say that, why would it be the first century man and not Yeshua, son of Nun, or Yeshua, the son of Jehozadak, the high priest, who actually was a high priest? Because double inheritance is also not fulfilling Torah, it's against Torah. You cannot be a son of David and a son of Aaron. The sound of joyful shouting and salvation is in the tents of the righteous. The right hand of Jehovah does valiantly. The right hand of Jehovah is exalted, and the right hand of Jehovah does valiantly. And this is another one they tried to like make about their idol. That the right hand is there he is, the right hand. Okay, but look at what Jeremiah says. Cursed, thus says Jehovah, cursed is the man who trusts in man, makes flesh his strength. And you'll say, well, that doesn't say right hand. Strength comes from where? From the right hand. And if you look in other translations, it says arm or hand, Zeroah, the source of strength. That's what he's talking about. I will not die, indeed I will live and recount the works of Yah. Yah has disciplined me severely, but he has not given me over to death. Remember we talked about at the beginning, like, hello, why are you being given over to death? Because you don't recount the works of Yah, you don't accept his discipline and turn from your sin. Open to me the gates of righteousness. I shall enter through them. I shall give thanks to Yah, not to his salvation, to Yah. This is the gate of Yahweh. The righteous will enter it through it. I shall give thanks to you, for you have answered me, and you have become my Yeshua. It doesn't mean he's becoming a man. The stone which the builders rejected has become the chief cornerstone. So there you go. There's the verse. But what have we just read? That Yah is the stone the builders rejected. This is from Yahweh. It is marvelous in our eyes. This is the day which Yahweh has made. Let us rejoice in it. O Yahweh, save. O Yahweh, succeed. Blessed is the one who comes in the name of Yahweh. We have blessed you from the house of Yahweh. Yahweh is Elohim. He has given us light. Bind the festival with sacrificial cords to the horns of the altar. You are my Elohim, and I give thanks to you. You are my Elohim, I exalt you. Give thanks to Yahweh, for he is good. His loving kindness endures forever. All you have to do is read the context, and their pretext is destroyed. That's why 300 times 0 is 0. Like, if you go through their list and read the context, understand that there's not an esoteric layer to these things, that the secret things of Yah are about what's coming in the future, you'll see that, all of their statements are lies. And the New Testament is included in that. The New Testament is filled with lies. Serve Yahweh alone. Rejoice in him. He is our salvation, not a man that grows weary, not a man that slept, not a man that died. Yahweh is eternal and does not die. Yahweh has no need to become a created being. Yahweh would never use human sacrifice or the murder of an innocent man. Yahweh would never command you to drink blood, not even in allegory. Remember this in the week of Passover, Pesach. He can't be a transgender lamb. And isn't it interesting, with all that's going on in the world, they still don't see it. Men claiming to be women and a man claiming to be a lamb to justify being sacrificed. Is that how God works? Is that just in equal measures? I don't think it is. I hope you all have a good rest of your week. Shalom.